What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Funko 411. So, I'll be honest, you may not have noticed, I haven't uploaded anything in a couple of weeks. And it's honestly because this whole thing with Funky Bop and the mystery boxes and the fake pops or the potential fake pops, the whole thing has really kind of just put me, kind of got me really bummed out, to be honest. Like, I've had dozens of people who have come to me in the last few weeks telling me that they've, spent hundreds of dollars, some people thousands of dollars on mystery boxes from Funky Bop. And, a lot of them are really concerned that they have fake product. And now I actually have people who have gone as far as sending in pops to places like SWAU and places like PSA and now have actual concrete results. Not just me kind of analyzing pops. They have concrete results from these companies saying that they have ineligible pops that they will not authenticate, basically saying, these pops are fake. And these are not cheap pops. These are like $400-$500 pops from really expensive mystery boxes. But as in my last video, I made a point to say that I didn't want to spend much more time discussing the topic. But, for those who have been following along this whole time, I really felt like I, wanted to put kind of a bow on this and have a conclusion, kind of just wrap this whole story up. So as you may have seen over on Instagram, Funky Bop did announce that they are closing their shop. So, the last few weeks, kind of some weird, strange attempts by Funky Bop to kind of explain the situation. But, a lot of this stuff, I don't really want to get too into it, but I just feel like a lot of those posts actually kind of further supported the concerns that myself and others had expressed in the first place. And really, Funky Bop kind of made things worse for himself, basically just showing that he really had not done any due diligence at all in authenticating the products that he was putting in his mystery boxes. And when we're talking about pops that are frequently faked, high dollar pops, and you're buying them from China and you don't really know your source, it's just a really bad practice. And, I understand he, tried to kind of explain some of these things, but really, like I said, I feel like he was doing more damage to himself than he was any good. And, on top of that, and aside from those weird attempts at trying to explain himself, he really never addressed some of the bigger questions. And he was mainly focused on those Fundy boxes. He didn't talk about any of those bigger grails. He didn't talk about some of the questions around those, the authenticity or the source of those pops. But the most disappointing thing for me is that in that final post, he chose to continue to pass the blame to everybody else rather than taking any accountability for his own actions. And the whole reason why this thing has been such a bummer is that he is not giving any indication that he plans on refunding anybody who bought into these boxes, especially those people who now have evidence and proof that the pops that they got from his boxes are fake. In fact, he is denying people's attempts to get refunds. So if they've reached out to him, or even people who have gone through like their credit card company, or I think, using Affirm or PayPal, he's basically just rejecting those claims and making it really hard for people to, get any of their money back. It's incredibly sad. And I just feel horrible for all those people who, bought into these high dollar mystery boxes and how they feel like they have nothing to show for it. With all that said, I want to point out a few things just for people's awareness so that we can kind of close the door on all of this. So Funky Bop did have a store on eBay, and he has changed the name of that store to the Pop Culture Company. I'll have a screenshot up so you can see what that looks like. And he has been selling a lot of those pops that were kind of in question to start with. So I want you guys to be aware. It's a little bit odd. Not gonna say why it's odd. It's pretty obvious why it's odd that you would change your name of your store from Funky Bop to the Pop Culture Company. But he is on there selling stuff, so proceed with caution on that. As a reminder, I also want to just post a screenshot of all the pops that were sort of in question as part of this whole thing with the seller from China and what they were selling. So here's all those pops. And the reason why I want to point those out is because he sold a lot of these figures. It wasn't just one or two. It was several of each of these figures that, came into question as part of his mystery boxes. So I want to post this picture just so that people are aware of what could be out there, stuff that you'd want to look at. These are pops that you'd want to do a little bit extra due diligence on if you're getting them, buying them online, buying them from a friend, whoever, because most of these pops probably have started circulating around. So be careful when you're buying these pops. Make sure you authenticate them and do all that. But anyway, I want to kind of use the rest of this video to sort of just move on from this, get out of this funk. Yes, the pun intended. I have a mystery box that I want to open up because I feel like we just need like a little bit of a reset, or I do at least. You know, like I said, this whole thing kind of just really got me down. It kind of put me in the dumps about like wanting to open more mystery boxes and do all this stuff because I just saw, you know, a different side of things that I hadn't seen as somebody, you know, having a YouTube channel. I saw a lot of people who I could just tell were really disappointed in what happened, how it was handled, money being lost, like disappointed in the community aspect and stuff. Like, it's just, the whole thing kind of just sucks. Like, that's the way to sum it up. So I feel like this is the only way to kind of just like move past it, like hit the reset button, because, and again, this is mostly for me because I just need like a mental reset from all of this too, because, you know, this isn't usually the type of content I make. I don't love having, you know, having had made those videos and doing, you know, that kind of content, because I don't want negativity coming out of the stuff that I'm doing. It's not my goal to do that. And, you know, it's also just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Let's just move on. Let's open this mystery box. This is a mystery box from Pop King Paul. It's I think he called it 2-pack attack. There were some 2-pack pops that were big hits. It was a $60 mystery box, low risk. It was $70 with the shipping. So like I said, it was a 2-pack attack, but I'm guessing, actually I'm pretty certain that we don't have one of the 2-pack hits because it's 3 to 4 pops. And in this case, the 2-packs only counted as 1 pop. So I would need to have a 2-pack and at least 2 pops in here. And this box clearly is not big enough for that. So I'm guessing I just have 3 standard size pops. All right, so let's move our box out of the way. And like I said, $60 box. So we're not expecting anything, you know, super crazy. If we just get our money back, I'll be pretty happy. So first pop out, we've got Hannibal Lecter. And this is actually the original one. Yep, 2017. So they have remade Hannibal Lecter recently. And like the pop is not super different from this one, but the value on it has held okay. I don't know that I doubt we can actually get $29-30 for this, maybe more like 20 to 25 because of that one being remade, but still a cool pop. I've had this one. I actually have this in my collection. I've pulled this from mystery boxes before, but a cool pop. All right, our next one up, we've got Pretty Woman, Vivian Ward, and this is the Chase. So the Chase, obviously she has like I guess it's a wig, right? I'm trying to remember the movie. She's got the blonde wig on versus the normal hairstyle. I think the rest of the pop is pretty much the same on the common, but pretty cool. 49. Wow, that's much higher than I would have thought. I would have thought that would have been like $30-35, but cool one. And then our last one, we've got Baba Louie. This is a cool one. I had this one in my collection a long time ago and I sold it. So it's kind of nice to have one like this come back, you know, come back around, I guess. So there's Baba Louie. How much is this going for now? 15. Wow. It's actually a lot lower than I thought. So, all right, let's check our value. You know, at least 3, older pops, not stuff that's brand new. That's where it's like, you know, you can't complain when we're probably going to just barely get value or maybe a little over value, but at least it's stuff that I can't just go buy at, you know, Target. That's always like one of the biggest qualifiers is like, can I go easily buy this stuff? No, I can't. I'd have to go buy it on eBay or Mercari or wherever. So let's check our values and see how we did. All right, so we've got our values, and we actually did pretty good. So at the time of boxing, Hannibal Lecter was $29. This one went up a little bit. It's $33 now, which is kind of surprising because I figure with a newer mold that's very similar to this one, I thought this one would go down, but $33. Vivian Ward was $49, and it stayed $49. And Baba Louie was $15, and it stayed $15. So in total, we got back $97, We spent 70, so we made a little bit of profit here. We made 27 bucks. So a nice variety of pops and a solid mystery box from Pop King Paul. Today, I'm not going to do any updates to the mystery box rankings. You know, Pop King Paul is obviously in our buy category. I love buying boxes from him. But I want to kind of shuffle that list around, make some updates, make some obvious updates based on recent events, and we'll kind of look at that in future videos. And speaking of future videos, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely hit subscribe because I've got a lot more mystery box openings that we'll do in the future. I've got some stuff from Boom Loot. I have a really fun video that I'm going to be doing with mystery grail boxes. I have 50 mystery grail boxes that I've now held on to for 2 years that we're going to open up and kind of see how those have done over, 2 years being held and not looked at. So we're going to open those up in a future video. Like I said before, I appreciate you guys hanging out through some of the recent videos. Not exactly the type of content that I love to make, but I do feel like it was positive to kind of get that information out there to people, help the community a little bit, and let people make their own decisions about where to buy mystery boxes. That's always the goal of the channel. So I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for watching. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of these pops, the whole Funky Bop situation and all of that. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.